Hello everyone, this is Christian Melnick's Interactive, and in this video will be the first in set of several videos in which we tackle creating a navigation bar, which we see at the top here with all the navigation, logo, search or text box for searching. It's responsive. Let's close it. So responsive to obviously the form factor. We'll also eventually have the interactions that you click on the navigate or the hamburger menu up here, and we get our mobile navigation. And we're going to do this all sort of natively, so just HTML, CSS, and of course JavaScript. Except that JavaScript won't include any frameworks or anything like that. We're going to do this ourselves. In this video, we're going to focus on obviously getting everything set up and started, and the left-hand side of this, which is the logo area. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. So just to show you here, I'm including in the style, so this is a file called main.page.scss, and this is just, as the name suggests, styles that are getting included into what I call a main bundle, and that main bundle is included on every page. So for testing here, help us see things. I've done some videos, showing my setup for sass. You can check that out. So we're importing a normalized.css, so sort of a CSS reset. I'm using bourbon embedders for some base styling, and I'm importing a file here that's just going to contain the styling for the main navigation. The body, we're setting a height, background color, the aqua, and inside of that there is a div that has a class called body content, and that body content then is getting a style on it of just yellow and padding top. So that's what we have up here. This is the size that I expect the main header to end up being is the reason why it's there. So that's the main page. We won't need it any longer. Once we bring some stuff up here, what we're going to look at is getting some actual content into our header. So what I'm doing here is, we have the pages folder in our project. The shared folder, I have this main_main nav.cshtml file, which of course will hold the markup for the main navigation, and then we'll have that imported. So we have the file. If we go into the layout.cshtml file, there's that div I was talking about with the body content class there, and then we have the we're using this partial tag helper to pull in the main nav, which, as we can see, is empty at the moment. So let's add a little bit to it. So we'll have a header. Inside of that header, we'll have a nav with a class equal to main navigation. Navigate, if I can spell. And so, of course, we've seen it here, but this is sort of the main navigation style that we're looking at here. And in this video, so it's broken up into sections, and we're using CSS Grid for it. Broken up into sections. Right now we're going to do basic setup, get everything up and running, which we've done a little bit of already, and then have just the focusing on the logo area, so logo and the name up here, right? So let's go ahead and we will put in an anchor. We'll have an href root and a class on it of logo, and some content inside of that. And there we're going to have a div with a class logo image. Unsurprisingly, will be the container for the image. Why do I need a container? Who knows? I have this thing for divs, I guess. So images/logo.svg. We'll be nice, we'll be good. Put some kind of alt on there. Exit on. Logo. Yep, image. And so that's the image, and we need the text that we want there. And I put a class on that, and that's logo text. We'll call it Exciton Interactive. Save that. Of course, change markup, so we have to refresh, and we can see it there. Maybe hard to see, I don't know. If I start messing with the zoom, then it breaks the media queries, showing media queries that we're about to see. So if you can't see it, I'm sure you can very easily imagine it. So we'll have now, so I have a main-nav.component.css file, and I think I already mentioned that, and that was being imported within the main.site.scss file, right? So we're importing it in here. So we're going to put our styling in here. And as I mentioned, I'm using Berber embedders. There's some functions and mixins that I want to have available to me in here. I add those into a common file, or import them, or re-export them. So it'll give us some file, or some, like I said, mixins and styles. What we're going to do here is to specify some variables. These things may be defined elsewhere, so when we specify it, so for instance dark gray, we're going to use that one. We're also going to say unless it's already set previously. So we have a dark gray, we want a navigation anchor color. I'm going to use a sass mixin to lighten our dark gray a bit by 20% to be exact, unless previously defined. So we have a navigation background color white default, navigation border color, and we're going to just say it's the same as the anchor color. We need one more thing, two more things. We'll need a point in which we break from desktop to mobile. We're going to put that at 1024. And I'm going to specify something that I just call gutter. It's just some little thing, 5 pixels. All right. And save that. I won't do anything. So now let's go ahead and start. So we have a header. And we're going to say position fixed. I want it at the top of the screen the whole time. Width 100%. And we'll modify the z-index to 2000 for reasons. So you can see once I saved it that the yellow bar jumped from down here to up. And so that's, you know, we've pulled the header out of the normal flow of things. All right, as a matter of fact, if we take a look, we can see it's up there and it takes up the entire width. All right, so now we'll have a main navigation. And I don't think that I did mention that we're using CSS Grid. The reason that I'm using CSS Grid is if we look at sort of finished example here, what happens is that the center things here, article series, application, all that, so those are main navigation anchors, main content area. So included in that though is the little hamburger menu for the mobile menu. And with the layout in desktop, you know, we want the logo, links, some authentication, search goes over to the right. But in mobile, so if I jump down to 1024 here, what will happen here is these things that were here, the anchors that were here, have now jumped to the right hand side. The anchors themselves have been hidden, and this, like I said, hamburger menu for the mobile navigation is now being shown. So to be able to move them from the middle to the end, we're using the CSS Grid, like I said, to do that. So let's move this to something respectable, slightly more. All right, But, the main reason for talking about that for the moment here is, actually now I've forgotten what it was. We'll just continue. So I said, on main navigation, we are going to make this display grid. So we'll have grid template areas. For right now, we just have one, call it logo. Grid template columns. So the width, that's nice. Stop telling me stuff. And grid template columns, we'll put auto for the logo. So we want the logo to take up only as much space as it needs. Ooh, that's helpful, look. So logo takes up as much space as it needs. The anchors themselves take over the rest of it, so they expand. Everything else is set to auto. Let's bring that back down. Move over. All right, so there, and now we want to set the background color. We've already navigation background color, border color, navigation border color, border style, solid. Include, we use a mix in here. Border dash width, nothing, bottom should be 1 pixel, nothing. We'll include some padding. I don't want to set the top and bottom, and for left and right, we'll use the gutter. Perfect. And set position relative, it's actually what I want, and we'll put the z-index on this thing to be 1. Let's save, see what we got. Add, include, can't spell, put another D there. All right, so we're making a little bit of progress here. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to do some changing for mobile navigation, the swapping of those anchors and such. Let's go ahead and put our media query on here. Include, along with setting up in the setup video for sass, I talk about adding in these mix-ins for the breakpoints. For creating breakpoints, I have greater than. If we look, just so you can see them on the screen, you can pause the video and stuff, but greater than, just that's the greater than, equal to, between, less than, so on and so forth. So we're doing greater than the mobile breakpoint, break width, grid template areas. For now, it's the exact same thing. And then grid template columns, because they'll flip-flop, we'll need to adjust them. But again, for now, we'll do auto. Nothing changed. Now Chrome's giving us a little indicator up there saying that there's some breakpoint involved now. All right, so now we can deal with the logo itself. So that was the main navigation. Let's do logo. So I want those two things, the image and the text, to sit side by side. I guess the first thing we're going to do is say grid area logo. Now we'll do display flex direction row. I think that's the default anyway, but I like to set it. Line the items to the center, and we'll do padding left 0. Let's go ahead and save that so we can see everything is, or not everything, the two things we have there have now jumped up side by side. So now let's deal a little bit specifically with the image. I wonder if it's the actual size it's supposed to end up being. Width is 48 pixels. I end up setting that. We'll just do it anyway. So logo image. Just because I want things to be, centered horizontal and vertical, or have the ability to vertically center things like the image, we're going to set its display to my favorite, flex. Again, I think it's the default. Doesn't matter, there's a single element inside of there, but align items, center, width, and a helper function contained within there I made was the EM to convert that 48 pixels to EM. Save it. A little bit of adjustment there, so that takes care of the image. Let's do a little bit for the text. So we have a class for logo text, and you know, we'll do the whole mobile first thing. So for mobile, less than 1024, yeah, we'll just call it mobile. We'll say none, so we won't have the displayed. Save that, it's gone, so that we can see that what we're doing. Let's go ahead and add in the media query. So we have the greater than or equal to 1. And we have the mobile break width. And all we need to do is to set it back to something to render. So now we have it back. I think that I've adjusted everything so that things disappear appropriately. So you have to be careful. In this text, there's a break. You know, there's a space there, so it might wrap that if you end up with things that you know, squishing it down. So let's go ahead and set the white space to no wrap. Font size might already be set to that with the default styling that I've included, but we'll set it to 1.5 EM. We're going to add a little bit of margin to things here. I want to adjust it just a little bit. Nothing to the top, nothing to the right. Move it 2 pixels up from the bottom, and 10 pixels to the left. Save that. Great. And last thing specific to this, we'll just say font weight, make it bold. Perfect. So now we have this logo here. If we're less than the breakpoint, the text disappears like it's supposed to. Now if we look in the sort of example here, we see that there is some commonality to all of the links that are happening up here, and they all have all same color and so on and so forth. So let's do a little bit of styling just for anchor tags. So we'll come back up here to the top of our header. We'll give us a new rule here for anchors. My friend, flex direction row. Just so, and I think, so in the notes here, I didn't put the flex direction row. So, just, if you're going to read them, let's get rid of that. Apparently it didn't matter to me at that time. So items, so I want them vertically centered. Text decoration, none, no underline, save it. Perfect. Set the color, navigation anchor color. I want those things to take up 100% of their parent's height. And we're going to put a little bit of include padding on here. Nothing top and bottom, but to give them a little bit of space left and right. We won't see anything on this one for the padding. We'll see them later on when we add anchors. Like I said, for now we've managed to have, you know, basic setup. We've, you know, got a little bit of markup going on, and it's being included in the page for us already. So now we can only need to, the styles are being included, so all we have to do is modify the main-nav style sheet and in this video. So the next video we are going to focus on the anchors themselves, obviously the styling, to flip them over here. We're also going to, so if we include, if you take a look at them, we have certain, the anchors here, article, series, applications, blah, blah, blah. Those same links are contained within the mobile navigation, and so we'll see a way to do sort of a mix-in like ability to add those. You know, we'll define what they are once, and then we can just pop them in every place we want without copying and pasting. And like I said, that'll have to wait to the next video. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.